Why, hello there. What? Miss Music, really?
Miss Music? What is this?
Miss Music, was ist das? Was ist das? Das ist ein Apfel. Das ist. Sorry. Hey, guess what? We're recording. Come on, hurry!
Oh my god.
So we had a really bad day. Bad. B-A-D. Bad day. No, I got a Coke. I got some Pepsi, but you can bring me another. No. I don't need no more.
So anyway, what were you saying?
Okay, so we decided to have music in the background because, you know,
Our day was
I should talk-
ridiculously long.
our day was very long and very. It wasn't bad, I guess I should say. We
spent an hour after work because I got stuck on a phone call. So when I came home and saw you guys had
But
extra questions, I was. So
When you think
excited.
about it, it was no big deal simply because we took off the morning.
Yeah, because
We were able to get VTO in the morning, so
and get my divorce papers
and then get the
filed.
divorce. Oh, guys, you want to hear about a bad relationship story? This guy not only is he out of the relationship, but this guy screws up even after the relationship. When they were doing the divorce papers, we had to go to the court and file the final divorce papers. That way we could do the court date. Apparently, the attorney and lawyer he went to isn't even an attorney or a lawyer. She was falsely carrying a license, or pretended to have a license, and she was fined 4 times by the court.
And they had just stopped accepting her stuff.
Yeah,
They said
we-
after
oh.
January 1st they were no longer going to accept her stuff. But thankfully we filed before January. We filed in December, so...
Oh,
Yeah.
man, were we lucky. But, I mean, Jesus, you want to talk about screwing up even more. Yeah. Okay, so, anyway. I figure we can go ahead and get... She's over here. You're eating pickles in my vicinity. You are not getting sex tonight. Ugh!
I don't care.
Ugh! Eat like sweethearts or
You have
something.
vibrators around here. It's okay.
Eat something else.
Pepsi and pickles.
Ew.
Right.
Pepcos.
Ew.
Ew. Indeed.
Pickles. Pickled and Pepsi.
So I think you might want to turn down the speakers a little bit, because if you notice how I do this,
Yeah,
it
stop
drones
that.
like the
Stop
goddamn
that.
Oxford.
Stop that.
That's exactly that sound is exactly how I see with the Oxford.
Noise.
Okay, so anyway, we got 5 questions today over the course of the day. Jesus Christ! But the first one, I have to admit, has to be the best. But it's probably because it's all about my creations. But
Which means I won't be talking very much. I'm making a lot of sound effects.
oh
so.
yeah, she will. She so will. So Acro asked, "Can you tell us about your chimeras?" Apparently, it's a she, right?
I'm pretty sure Acro's a girl.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Pretty
she was he it.
Why don't you just... You're dumb.
No!
Okay, read the question, then we'll
Okay.
find out.
Anyway, they were apparently lurking the galleries. That's the whole point. And they saw several chimaera-machine hybrids and everything, and they wanted to know how they fit into the 9 universe, how they're created, how we came up with the concept in the first place, how they work and function, and the relationships to the stitchpunks. I can answer this very simply, but I'm going to be very complicated.
Because she is...
Because I'm like this, and I'm a writer. I love to write. I love words. I love talking. Yes. Okay.
Acro Santi is...
A girl.
Drumroll, please. Female.
Ba-dum. Anyway, I'm a terrible drum roll. Okay, so anyway, the chimeras came about because I was screwing around one day, and I was like, you know what? I want some evil shit in RagNBone. I want something to, freak Hannah out when we're in the middle of roleplay and this thing bursts through like a window or something. And I came across the idea, why not chimeras? And I'm not talking in the essence of, the 3-headed lion, scorpion thing. No. Chimeras come about in the Third World War. According to the RagNBone story, this is where we place Hitler. We didn't want the Chancellor, even though it's kind of obvious he portrays Hitler in the movie. We actually, to a certain degree, we pushed Hitler himself as coming in afterwards in World War III and starting up his own war, as natural history is, puts it through. But at this point in time, Hitler's already kind of pissed. Let's see. History's got 2 giant-ass scars on its ass right about now. The superiority of the human race has failed in the First World War. And then you have them doing the Age of the Machine, in which case that failed just as badly. And
basically, this is Hitler trying
to fix what was wrong.
Rebuild Germany as the once great nation.
Yeah, and I mean, in addition to that, obviously the world domination comes into play. But the chimeras were his solution, because anybody who's ever been
curious, that actually is kind of...
It's very true.
Well, it is kind of in Mein Kampf. He talks about
yes.
the alien nation.
Anybody who has read Mein Kampf or is a Holocaust buffs like we are, or World War II buffs like we are.
Wait, to sound like creepers, but yes.
Yeah, we're Nazi lovers.
Nazi lovers, not really.
Nazi outfit lovers.
We like Nazi outfits. I just think the whole era is
just the whole concept. But Hitler was actually very interested in alchemy and the magics, and he really did believe that you could go pretty far with some weird ass shit. And
I mean, he did hire Mengele.
Yeah, he did. He hired Mengele. But in RagNBone, he actually, while the Nazi Party is kind of putting the political distraction on the continents, he is testing in the background. And there is a character that kind of pushes him to do certain things, but we're not... One of her characters, yeah, but we're not really going to go into that because that is spoilerific.
Yes.
And, but anyway, this particular character pushes Hitler into doing the dark magics and alchemy and really taking it, because just this character's appearance alone kind of proves alchemy can happen to a certain degree. So, in World War III, you introduce a series of machines that they have minds, but they are not their own. Unlike the fabrication machine, who kind of developed his own mind and learned as he grew, these guys are purely, ran by a major machine that doesn't have any more thought than your basic machine would pretty much today. All of it has to be functioned by somebody. So if one of these machines are up and running, somebody is controlling it. It's not another machine. But you get in the World War III, you get the Wellingtons, you get the Oxford, which is the major kind of machine of sorts. You get the Pirates, you get the Arsenics. And it's kind of all of these things work together. The Oxford is the very first thing that starts the war. The Oxford takes over the sky, and it's pretty much a giant flying cage. And inside this cage are thousands upon thousands of these robotic machines. They're very dragon-like. They're called pirates. And pretty much it's their job to obliterate anything in the sky. So
I do have to interrupt you here for a second.
Oh, God.
Okay, so if you've been trolling the galleries, you may have noticed in Rattles' gallery there are several series of pictures that were done that were OC sketches, where we had
OC canvas, yeah.
And we would sketch things. And
I posted that on here.
There are pirates in there. And one in particular has this really derp seal-looking thing on the left-hand side.
That was her vision.
Mind you, when we role-play, we don't explain or describe. Occasionally we'll send each other pictures or references, but we don't really explain and describe what monsters necessarily look like. So she said pirates. And because she's been talking about chimeras and them being made of flesh, the first image that came to mind was that derp seal baby thing that I drew.
Which I still want to use somewhere.
Yeah, we do want to use it. I have no idea how it gets off the ground because it has no legs. It just has these flipper wing things that go...
I figure it can be more so of a sea. Kind of in the sea, I don't know.
I'm thinking like maybe a manta ray that flies.
Yeah.
Bullshit. But anyway.
It was her interpretation of the pirate.
That was my interpretation
and
of
then
the
right
pirate.
above it is the actual pirate.
Then she drew a pirate, and I went, what? And I was like, that's what it looks like? And so I drew it. And I was like, that's what I was picturing. She goes, that's what you were picturing?
But yeah, I mean, one of the biggest reasons we don't tell each other is because it's kind of nice not following somebody else's reference, but in turn, when we do get together and we finally draw down the thing, she may have some awesome concepts that I want to add to mine, and I may have some awesome concepts to add to hers.
I mean, the RagNBone house has changed floor plans like 5 times already.
Oh yeah, but it's really eerie how similar and close it's been.
Things get set up. Yeah.
Exactly. But
anyway,
with the Oxford and the Pirates, this is pretty much air patrol is nearly non-existent because of these things. When the Oxford, it's pretty fucking large, When this thing hovers over a certain city, Amsterdam in particular actually gets destroyed easily. It covers the entire capacity of the city. And you've got 7,000 pirates flooding out of this thing like a flock of bats, coming down purely on the city just to destroy it. And these guys are pure machine. They are not chimeras. But that's pretty much what starts it. The Oxford is kind of also of a diversion of sorts. That way you don't really notice that the chimeras are working around. And it's not the chimera's job. The chimeras come into play with the Wellingtons and the arsenics. The arsenics are solid, how do I describe them? They're kind of just solid shapes that are embedded into the ground, and the chimeras occupy what are called mines. If you've ever seen Audi or Crack.com, the world's greatest scars,
not
or
just
stuff
Audi
like
and Crack. If you've ever seen anything to do with holes in the ground, that sounds so dumb, but
craters,
we're talking
calderas.
Giant craters. There's one in Russia that is on fire. It was a mine that got set ablaze. There's the Great Blue Hole that's in the Caribbean, which is actually a hole underwater.
And these things could be a couple 100 miles wide. They're very large, and they become more. There's not.
Are you talking about the holes or the arsenics?
No. The holes
the
themselves.
Holes themselves. Okay.
No. The arsenics.
A couple 100. I'm going.
No. The arsenics are very small compared to these places because there's hundreds of arsenics in every mine.
Think of it like a nest.
Yeah, it's a giant underground nest. And, I mean, at this point, you kind of figure the world's fucked. You got air patrol pretty much extinct because of the Oxford, and now you've got arsenics under the ground. The arsenic's main priority is to pretty much take... Well, the Wellingtons harvest. They go around and they collect the dead bodies, any carcasses whatsoever.
This is why Hitler used them in the war during the final solution against the Jews.
Exactly.
Instead of burning the bodies,
they just outright take these.
And then the Wellingtons would take the bodies and harvest them.
Now, the Wellingtons are the travelers. They're the ones who collect and they bring them to the mines. The arsenics are kind of like your fabrication machines. They create something out of... There's actually there's a side part to them because they kind of have two brains. They have the main brain, and then you have the smaller brains, which actually put together these chimeras. And they're based off of whatever knowledge Hitler has fed into the machines. Now, the arsenics inject a soul that has been ripped out of somebody into these chimera, and there could be many as 5, 6, 7. Doesn't really matter how many souls it takes to bring this chimera to life, and it takes a lot considering the chimeras are very large.
Not enough will result in one that doesn't.
Exactly. Yeah, and
they have to do more essentially.
Yeah, they kind of rebuild, tear off the flesh, and keep going from there. These things are mortal. They're definitely mortal. I mean, if you nail them with a couple 100 machine guns, you'll bring them down eventually.
And most of them are mildly rabid.
Oh, yeah, mildly. Mildly. Okay, but, I mean, they're really huge. I think the smallest one we have is one that you've already seen in my gallery. It's the Twister. And he is only about 20 inches long, and he's a nightmare. He's very much of a nightmare. Whereas you have another... the Alchemist and the Thurigus are kind of the main chimeras you see. They are the largest. They're not the largest, but they're pretty goddamn large when you first see them. They're
the largest that have been brought into the comic thus far. Yeah.
They're pretty much they would come up to the side of a semi truck. So if you've ever been on the road and you know how you get very uncomfortable next to trucks, try to imagine a nice sized thing made out of thousands of carcasses, and pretty much breathing down your neck, chasing after you. The Alchemist and the Thurigus are actually made up of 3 heads each. They kind of resemble Cerberus of Greek mythology, the 3-headed dog. Each one of these actually carries, each of the heads are kind of based off the foundation of the sins. So you have gluttony, you have envy, you have greed. And all of them work independently of each other as a head, but as an internal body, they are all one, and it's because of the mashup of all the souls you have. So try to imagine shoving about 30 people that are in a room into one person, and try to have a conversation with that person.